This is Robert Stack, and you're listening to the Unbelievers podcast.
There were several groups. One of the principal ones was the reptilians from the Orion complex.
Without any exaggeration, it was like being on fire inside.
Rats were eating you up inside.
This stuff was in my mouth. It felt like it was 500 pounds. It was unbelievably hot.
My first question would be, were you a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan?
I don't understand.
There's always an argument for everything, you know? Just because somebody can fake something doesn't necessarily mean it's real.
And we found a life form. And that's when I started shitting my pants.
So for the person who called, I am carrying an alien.
An alien, and we cover it right here, okay?
Okay.
Something is happening. What is it? That's the question. So do UFOs exist? It depends on what you mean exist.
The paranormal field attracts many individuals that some consider to be totally fraudulent. People like Jay-Z Knight and her Ramp the Scam horse cult, Tom Biscardi the Bigfoot faker, Joshua P.P. Warren. While this program has worked to shine a light on these heinous hucksters, there are still many, many more to discover, such as our subject for tonight. As the Unbelievers return to the Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell Archive to discuss one of the most prolific scammers to ever arise from the New Age and psychic community. A man known to the world as America's prophet, who turned the trust of his believers into actual prophets. So, join us now as we break down the career, predictions, and criminal record of one of the seediest of all psychics. It's time now for Famous Frauds, Sean David Morton. Right here on the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm Rus Ryan, and joining me for year 6 is Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hello. How's it going?
Great. And, of course, the soundboard engineer and producer, Rob Okey.
So far, this one comes up incredible to me.
Year 6. I thought this was year 5. I thought we just hit our 5-year anniversary. Did we time travel to next year, Russ?
No. We're kicking off year 6 and our way we do seasons. But yes, our 5-year anniversary is a few days ago on the 13th. So hey, congrats!
Yay us! Yay!
Hell yeah! It feels like it was just yesterday that we sat down to record the first episode, and none of us knew what podcasting was all about. You know, we all learned the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, we had some good mentorship, thank goodness, but it's still a struggle. It's still a learning curve.
It's been so much fun, though. We've covered so many crazy topics over the past couple years that, like, I do feel like I have unlearned a lot. A lot.
Oh, I've unlearned so much.
Yeah, I remember a few months in, you guys thinking that there would not be enough stuff to talk about, that we would just deplete everything, especially if we didn't cover what Unbelievable Podcast did. But here we are, and there's always more. Always. It never ends.
There's no shortage of unbelievable topics for us to cover. That's for fucking sure.
Thank God.
Thank God. And thank God for tonight, because we are getting into this in the beginning of year 6. It's time for Famous Frauds, Sean David Morton. Cloud Nothings with Psychic Trauma. And that music means it's time for this specific episode, because tonight we will be discussing a man who held a very prominent place in the world of ufology and New Age practices, a man by the name of Sean David Morton. Do you guys know him? Had you heard about him?
No, this is the first foray I've had into this particular specimen.
Yeah, I had no idea who this person was. And even after a little bit of research, I don't know a ton about them, but I have an inkling of an idea.
That's going to change tonight. Yes, because Sean David Morton is a self-described psychic, ufologist, and alleged remote viewer who has referred to himself as America's prophet. He attended Southern California, graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science and a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Performing Arts. His father was a public relations officer for TRW, and his mother was radio TV personality and health author Maureen Kennedy Solomon. And both parents were fundamental Christians, but Morton became Morton. Oh my God, I called him Mormon. I see Christians and Morton next to each other. Morton became a self-described New Age thinker. He has said that as a child, he often heard astronauts describe their experiences with extraterrestrials. In between 1985 and 1996, Morton produced documentaries on subjects including Chupacabra and Bigfoot, and he also led tours around Area 51, and he suggests that aliens from Area 51 were from Krondak, a planet 800 light years away. So far,
hold on. What was the name of it?
Krondak. So that's where the Area 51 aliens are from.
I've never heard of that planet. Is that one of them? Is that in our? It's not in our solar system, I don't think.
It might be. They could just be hiding it from us. You know how they do.
Is that like Pluto, or like they added it and then they took it away? Like, is this one that we just, has it been erased basically, or is this it sounds like a planet where all they eat is Klondike bars?
As much as we've gotten into this is the first mentions of Krondak, planet Krondak from 800 light years away.
Krondak with an R. Krondak.
Krondak, yes. And so far, this guy, he almost sounds like a pretty cool guy so far, just from the resume, right? Like, you would sign up for his newsletter, right, Rob?
I guess so. I have never signed up for a newsletter in my life, but yes, I would sign up for his newsletter, Russ. I don't sign up. I've unsubscribed from so many things, but I've never actually, I can't remember once hitting subscribe. Like, yes, send me bullshit emails about something. No,
you're already on the hook. You want to know about Krondak. You want to know about whatever. He's remote viewer, psychic
newsletters about Krondak.
This was in the 90s. So we're gonna bring it back a little bit because he's a pretty big name, and being a big part of the UFO and New Age community led Mr. Morton to become a frequent guest on the overnight radio show Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. So let's learn more about Sean David Morton now as he had introduced to the Coast to Coast AM listeners in 1996, as many of them may have been asking, who is Sean David Morton?
Okay, who is Sean Morton? Sean Morton is kind of an interesting individual. He's worked, has an extensive background in television and film, worked with Gene Roddenberry in the early 1980s. Now, I wonder how you get from living in a monastery, which he did, a Tibetan monastery, to television with Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, then Star Trek, The Next Generation. He's written music videos for a number of very popular artists. Was the first person to interview Billy Meyer in Switzerland nearly 5 years ago, and has purchased the rights to the Meyer case film.
Okay, so that is already a lot of interesting facts. He worked in film and TV. He's doing Star Treks, a Tibetan monastery.
A Tibetan. No, man, that's a lot. And this is just the what, mid 90s, early 90s. What year are we around?
This is 1996, where he is kind of being introduced here. He evidently he's worked in a lot of film, and even they said music videos, but he's
written music videos.
Dude, Art's back is going to be hurting from all those names that he just dropped, because geez, man, this dude has got his fingers in everything. He goes Gene Roddenberry, man. Come on.
But also, more
the Rod and the Berry, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Don't get me distracted with rods this early. But he's also involved with Billy Meyer. Now, we all remember Billy Meyer, right? Mm-hmm. From, the Swedish alien case. But I was really more interested in him talking about the music videos. I could not find any info on his music video credits, and that is a shame.
They're probably his friends' music, his friends' bands or something. Yeah, like, let's just throw that onto the resume. Why don't we?
Well, technically, if you put music to any video, it's technically a music video. So,
damn, I've made a lot of music videos.
You know what that meant. You know what that meant. He did some kind of videos, but it already sounds like this guy has done it all. But wait, there's more.
Was associate producer on a television production called UFO Contactees, has a deep psychic background, is the author of The Millennium Factor, which not only predicts world history for the next 30 years, but gives exact details of the whereabouts of the Antichrist and how he will come to power. A second book written called The Gulf Breeze Prophecies was co-written with a guest we had the other night. U.S. intelligence officer Vance Davis. Why don't we find out just who this Sean Morton is? So, hello, Sean.
Hello, Art. Gosh, what an honor it is to be on your program. I just want to let you know that I've been listening to you for a long time, and you're doing a fabulous job in getting the word out to people. And it's so many people have called me and said, look, you ought to call Art. You guys would get along great. And you probably hear this all the time, but I don't think I can say it enough that you're doing a fabulous job and a real service to everyone that listens to you and everyone that tunes in your station.
Very, very kind of you, Sean. Boy, I'll tell you, you've got some background.
Okay, calm down. No need to suck Art off that much.
Right at the beginning, it's like, a little foreplay. Geez,
the two of them, both of them. It's like they're fucking joined at the penis. Art and this guy right now. They're both literally talking each other up so much before they can even get to this fucking interview. Like, let's get to it, guys. Come on.
I feel like Sean should be big timing him. He's got, more psychic credentials. He has knowledge of the Antichrist. He has a book out that has 30 years of future history. And did you get that other part? He co-wrote that Gulf Breeze book with Vance Davis. So that was, do you remember the Vance Davis case? That was the Gulf Breeze 6. The group that was the military group that broke apart with the Ouija board. They went AWOL and they got led to Gulf Breeze because of those Ouija board sessions. And Sean David Morton co-wrote the book with him. He was kind of being the man on the scene for that.
Now, the Gulf Breeze, isn't that where this comes from?
That baby went in warp drive.
Yep.
Hey, look, read my lips. I love that clip. Thank you. Well, let's jump ahead a little bit in this interview where Art is asking him about Area 51. And this is a place where Sean would actually do tours of the perimeter and film out there during this time, like in the 90s.
Was he one of the Naruto runners or like what
He was one of those guys who found that hill where you could kind of see stuff going on, and he's one of the early people to push the limits of where that perimeter actually is. You can't go in there. But he was also interviewing certain whistleblowers of the time, and he brings this up.
It is kind of, it's kind of weird because, I won't mention him by name, but one very famous scientist who came out of the facility, it's sort of unusual to see how his story has kind of changed from the beginning because my documentary team interviewed him in February of '90, where Joe Randazzo and Richard Kashansky interviewed him.
Go ahead and name him.
Well, no, because I don't like talking negatively about people on the radio. It's just not my thing. But he did claim originally in his story that he had actually physically seen alien beings at the base, and then as he became more famous, he then claimed that he never saw aliens, that he didn't see anything like it, and yet there was a story that he was working on a saucer. And that.
All right, I don't remember any claims. I think that I know who you're talking about, and I think I've interviewed this individual a number of times.
Yeah.
I play that to show you what kind of interviewee this guy is. He's one of those guys that give you just enough to be interesting, but he'll also just reel back and say, well, we got to watch what we say. I can't say too much. I'm working on something. And I think we all know even now, like 25 years later, that's Bobby Lazar he's talking about, right?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Laser Man. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. There's that tone that somebody has, right? Each time where you just know, like, oh, this was promising until they do that thing where like, that.
That's it.
Every fucking time.
Yeah, and Art doesn't take it. He wants to say, I got a soundboard clip here.
Go ahead and name him.
Well,
no.
Go ahead and name him. Let's can you dox him for me, please?
That was another great little clip in there. I think this should be my motto since I'm always so positive.
No, I don't like talking negatively about people on the radio. It's just not my thing.
It's not your thing, Russ.
Never been, never will. So he talks a while for about his book called Millennium Factor, and he really hooks Art in by talking about, you guessed it, the weather and predictions he has accurately made about certain weather events and earthquakes, which leads to this.
You see, my work, and we didn't really talk about this much in the beginning. I publish a newsletter called the Delphi Associates Newsletter. And in the Delphi Associates Newsletter, which I started last year, I began it because I'd worked as a sensitive for a long time. I'd worked with the Los Angeles Police Department under something they called Unit 9 here. Whenever they have a case they can't solve, there were a group of psychics that actually worked for them. But as a sensitive, I was predicting these events. I was tuning in, using a Tibetan meditation technique to tune into the planet and I would then get pockets of energy that would then come up from out of the earth. And at first, before I was writing the newsletter, I would write registered letters to the Hermosa Beach Police Department. So I started publishing the newsletter quite specifically because I was having these visions, and I would begin writing the visions down, and I needed to publish the newsletter to be able to get the visions out there and then date them to give some validity to the things that I'm seeing.
So he does have a newsletter, see? And it seems to only be for the purpose of proving that he called something first.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you? If I had some kind of a little bit of a track record, I would immediately make a newsletter about it.
I was immediately distracted by the 6-person psychic team that the police were using, because that sounds like a fucking
right. That's a
superhero
TV
team.
show.
That's like the Avengers.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Like super psychic power 6. Let's go.
Yeah. What the fuck is he talking about? I didn't know they did that.
Well, he's trying to involve himself in crimes and solving crimes.
Beach PD.
And he wants to call everything. But he said before that he was mailing letters to people, and I guess, I don't know, to keep them sealed. Remember how people thought if you mailed a letter to yourself, that was like its own kind of copyright? I don't know if you've ever done that.
Poor man's copyright. It's not the best thing you could do, but it's something if it's postmarked.
I just do it because no one else will write me any letters. I just write myself letters all the time just because I'm lonely, honestly. But
you can't even open them. You have to prove you wrote them yourself.
I do. Listen, I break my own rules. I open them. I like to read my own letters.
Rob, let me tell you about something called newsletters. If you just released a newsletter, you can prove that you said all these things. All right, we're getting there.
Yeah, you should email yourself, man.
Oh, God.
So Art wants to know more about his fascinating background, and Sean Morton, he talks about his lifelong quest for spiritual truth. Being raised Irish Catholic, then later Lutheran, and then at the age of 10, becoming a fundamentalist Christian. He even went so far as to receive a degree in theology. But as an adult, he enters the world of business. And as a young man, he owned nightclubs in Southern California. And it sounds like he actually went really Hollywood. Let's hear.
No, it was a very fast scene. It was a very fast lifestyle. A lot of beautiful women and the whole Hollywood deal, which I just started to find completely vapid and vacuous. And
interesting. Ted Turner, who owns CNN and a lot more, said once, "Success is actually kind of an empty bag."
Oh yeah, it is. So in 1986, I had a lot of money. Actually, it was in '85, and I'd used a lot of my psychic abilities to make tens of thousands of dollars off the stock market. I turned about $5,000 into almost $150,000 in about 3 years in the stock market.
Damn.
So I managed to basically I just rented my house and sold a lot of stuff that I had, and I just started traveling around the world. And it was there that I traveled to India, and I lived in India for a period of time. And I lived at the Dalai Lama's compound in Dharamsala. I lived at this monastery for 8 months, and there I specifically trained in earth healing techniques, prayer, meditation, astral travel, a lot of the things, just basically the things that they taught, the basic skills of learning how to control the mind, how to quiet the spirit, how to center oneself. And once you get to that point, you can then pick up the energy and pick up the feeling of the planet.
Now, I'm curious,
when things are going to happen.
Did you get the answers that you wanted?
I think, yeah, I did.
So he's almost like Doctor Strange without the injury. You know, he's like this Hollywood partying club owner. He gets tired of this fast lifestyle, these ladies. So he uses his psychic powers to make a bunch of money and then go live with the Dalai Lama to learn even more powers.
And I like how he described that astral projection, astral travel is the basics. That's just, that's elementary shit. We should all know.
That was week 1 at Dolly's place. And then from then on, we really took
Weekend
off.
at Dolly's. I bet that was a riot.
Literally is Doctor Strange, though, in so many ways. And can you just do that? Can you just go live with the Dalai Lama? Does he just let anybody?
Enough money, man.
Like he just has a compound.
A couple of stock tips. Yeah, you go there, whatever the Dalai Lama needs. I'm sure you know.
His roommates? Like I never imagined that the Dalai Lama just had random people moving in with him. Especially this guy.
Well, yeah, it depends on which one, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, he's doing it. He's out there. It's the 80s. He's a party guy. Yeah. But he really is trying to seek enlightenment and trying to learn all the powers of the planet that are coming up from the earth and jumping into his body. So now it is established. This guy is a real deal psychic. He's made a bunch of money off of it. So, of course, he has a whole slew of predictions to give Art on this live radio program, Coast to Coast, which is basically an audio newsletter. So are you guys ready for some predictions of the future, which is actually our past, since this is the 90s?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I think I'm ready.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. Let's do it.
What you had to say about Korea last hour was very important. Please repeat it.
Okay, that basically, what I can tell you is that about 72 hours ago, we sent a squadron of B-52s there, along with YF-22 stealth fighters and stealth bombers. They're, as we speak, in Tokyo now. From the same source that gave me that, he talked about how the Koreans, it was in his opinion, that the Koreans, and this was a man who used to work counterterrorism, that North Korea had, in fact, 6 atomic weapons, 2 old-style ones and 4 newer ones, that they had just, what we're most worried about, had just developed the delivery systems, specifically the guidance systems and what have you, to be able to possibly take a shot at Tokyo. We've answered that. I mean, just today in the news, I believe it was Clinton who said that if a nuclear attack in fact takes place, that would be the end of North Korea, and we're getting ready to go in guns blazing to do something about it. I don't know how we can't. We've got to go in and take out some of these positions because we can't just leave a loose cannon like North Korea just kind of laying around.
Yeah, you guys heard about this? You remember this? When we invaded Korea in the Great Korean War of 1996?
I mean, shit.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
They wiped our entire memories. You know that.
Now, is there any chance that this happened on a different timeline? That
absolutely
the events that would have led us into this war with North Korea.
Well then how did we end up
diverted?
We're in the Dennis Rodman thing because Dennis Rodman was the only way to bring peace in North Korea, and that's a fact. So that is, we are actually living in the Rodman timeline as far as Korea. The Rodman timeline. Yes,
we've all seen the movie that we're not allowed to talk about anymore.
It does just seem like this is the perfect opportunity for the Psychic Six to retroactively stop war from happening. And I feel like that's what happened, honestly. Now that I have all the information.
If the Super Psychic Six team up with, Super Seven or whatever.
Single Seven.
Oh God.
Single Seven. I always
now compiled on YouTube, our new YouTube video. We've compiled our Single Seven. But yes. But I can see you guys are loving this. Art is loving this. And he, of course, pushes for more predictions. And Sean begins talking about the bearded star and Nostradamus. Like, he starts going off on a lot of weird stuff. But it leads to this very 1990s prophecy.
One of these prophecies specifically, and we felt strongly enough about this to actually send letters to the White House, and we have had actual conversations with the Secret Service where we were called up into the offices, where at first they said, okay, well, and it was concerning President Clinton. And I want to state now and for the record that I wish the man no harm. I don't want anybody doing anything to him. I don't plan on doing anything to him myself, but I was having a very specific vision of him. In my book, The Millennium Factor, printed in 92, I predicted his election. I predicted the exact percentage he would win by. I predicted that his presidency would be riddled with scandal and that he would be, in my opinion, as a visionary, assassinated.
When?
I believe that the assassination may, in fact, occur before the 25th of July, and that's what we put in the registered letters.
It's the day after my birthday, the 25th of July.
Shit.
I know.
Oh, we didn't do anything about that.
Well, if you're wondering why the post office was closed, it's not an observance of Rob Okey's birthday. It's an observance of the Clinton assassination when that crazy lady, when she poisoned his saxophone reed in that other timeline.
Oh, yeah. It was the Rice and Reeds incident. I remember. It was such a crazy fucking thing to have happen. No wonder no one's allowed to play instruments in the White House anymore.
He's making like those basic psychic mistakes where like he's going too big. He's shooting from the 3-point line every time when he's got to go up for some layups every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's just like you can't be Steph Curry all the time. You also need to be able to be
Steph Curry any part of the time.
Well, I mean, it's okay. You can throw out those crazy predictions every once in a while, but you can't just like have one after another like this. This is too much.
And they're too close. He's like, Korea next week by Rob's birthday. But wait, by the way, before I say anything about that, I want to say.
And I want to state now and for the record that I wish the man no harm. I don't want anybody doing anything to him. I don't plan on doing anything to him myself.
It was such a build-up to him just saying, President Clinton will be assassinated. But he had to be like, I don't want this to happen. I'm not going to do this myself. None of the Psychic Six are involved in this.
That's so crazy. I mean, like, what if you did have a premonition? What if either of you, had a dream and it was so detailed and it was something that big? And you're like, would you keep it to yourself or would you put it out there just on the off chance that it did happen and people could point and be like, oh my God, he was right. Is it worth it?
I think I would put the first one out there if I really felt strongly about it, because maybe if you get another one, people might actually believe you. And then you'll have Art Bell saying,
in my opinion, as a visionary, assassinated.
When?
Fascinated. That's the next credible.
It just shows how skewed this guy's view of like the world was at this time, where like he was so positive we were about to go to war with North Korea. It was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And then also he was literally putting all of it into Bill Clinton getting assassinated, which I don't think that many people wanted to. Nobody really wanted to shoot Bill Clinton that bad. I don't think. I think he was just very controversial. His actions within the White House are controversial. He left, a legendary stain on the presidency.
Come on, you had to say legendary stain. God damn it, Rob.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
and so did Bill Clinton. But it's okay. It's like, okay, so you had a sexual indiscretion, whatever. So did every freaking president. It's just not all of them got made public.
But I don't think were there people like really lining up to shoot Bill Clinton? I don't think he was one. He's not. Well, he wasn't
just
one of those
for political opportunity to go against him and for other parties to come to power, of course. But it was all political driven, of course.
Yeah.
But so back to Sean David Morton. So at one point during this, they actually start talking about the Billy Meyer thing they mentioned. So many listeners, you might be familiar, but if you are new, Billy Meyer was an alien contactee from Switzerland who is a whole other thing. He has been in contact with a host of different Plejarians, such as Svath and Asket, which is a lady Plejaran. He also is in contact with Samjay and Ptah. And remember, Sean David.
These names are so funny. It's literally just someone laying in their bed, just making sounds, and they'll be like, "That's an alien." Like none of these things are.
Daniel Scranton sounds.
They're not well thought up at all.
Look, Svath, Asket, Samajay, Ptah, they're all regular Plejaran aliens that Billy Meyer's in contact with. But remember, Sean David Morton, he kind of buddied up to Billy Meyer at this time and was friends with Billy's son. And he gives an update on Billy Meyer and Samjay.
The last I heard of the case, his son Methuselah and I are pretty good friends, and Methuselah came out and stayed with me here last year. The contacts with Samjay stopped in '86. Samjay suffered an accident. She was talking to Billy, and someone tried to break into the room where Billy was speaking to her. She got up out of a chair and tripped and stumbled and cracked her head on a fireplace awning. And apparently suffered some very, very severe brain damage. She was kind of put back together, but has to now recuperate, and so she's gone back to wherever her planet is to recuperate.
The hell? I thought aliens were graceful. Samjay sounds like some kind of bumbling idiot falling around, cracking her head on a fireplace. Have you ever heard of such things?
Oh, I mean, I've seen it happen with many friends and acquaintances after a certain number of beverages. Sure.
What kind of alien is Samjay? Is
Plejarans?
But what does that look like?
Are they a mess? They sound like they had to put her back together like Humpty Dumpty. They're talking about like, we're gonna put her back together, but she's definitely brain damage. And
what is it? I'm guessing. I'm just imagining this is a little gray alien with a really heavy head, and he got up too quick. And he got lightheaded and he just slipped and fell out of his head on the fireplace.
Oh, man. Okay, I can completely relate to that. It almost happened to me yesterday. Just every now and then you get a little like whoopsie in your head. You just don't have enough, I don't know. You don't have great blood circulation. You try to stretch. Next thing you know, you're on the floor. It happens.
The gravity is different on Crom Crack or wherever he talked about.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Adirondack planet.
They should get him a helmet. They should get him a helmet when he's on Earth so that if he falls again, he doesn't have to get put back together, dude.
This was the 90s. Samjay is probably long dead at this point.
Bubble wrap him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have clipped this whole show. It's like 4 hours long. There's a whole coast to coast episode, but I just have one more prediction from this legendary Art Bell, Sean David Morton appearance where Sean drops another fateful prediction that Drea, I'm going to ask you, will this be a hit or miss for this master psychic?
Oh man, I want so badly for it to be a hit, but I think it's going to be a miss.
Or what about you, Rob?
We're playing Battleship now. I think this dude is going to miss again. He's not good at this game.
All right, let's find out.
Sean, there are a lot of people worried about this country and about where it's going and about civil unrest and all the rest of it. Somebody faxes the following. Do you think there will be martial law in America this summer?
Not this summer, but I think you will see, it is my prediction that you will see martial law in 7 major cities by late 1995. And I think that this will be because of a combination of natural catastrophes, steps taken by the government, and basically economic upheavals. Primarily, as many other people think, and I don't think it takes psychic powers to predict this, I think that the federal government is actually going to go bankrupt by late 95 to mid-early 1996.
Wow. Big if true. Yes, this was definitely a miss. And apologies. Yeah, this is actually from 1994, this one. I thought it was 96, as he mentions a lot, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't all have hits.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be wrong. I knew he was going to be wrong. He's wrong about everything so far.
He is, and it even gets worse here as the predictions get very, very scary.
Well, there are a lot of economists who would agree with you.
But I don't think they take it a step further. I think what you're going to see is that in Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami, Washington, D.C., and New York, and those 7 major cities, you're going to see the Constitution suspended for a period of time, 90 to maybe 120 days. You're going to see sweeps for guns throughout most of the cities. You're going to see gangs actually working in concert with, as shock troops, I guess you might say, working with, well, I can't even call them federal authorities because I think that a lot of them will actually be like Hessians, like foreign mercenaries. But it's just going to be in the major cities, and a lot of this is going to have to do with the breakup of the federal union. And my long-range prediction for this is that by the year 2005, I see no longer the United States of America. I see something called the NAU, which is the North American Union, which consists of what is left of Mexico and Canada.
Wow, we must have dodged a bullet with this prediction. Gangs are being Hessians and rounding up weapons and making child soldiers or something. This is one of those things where I wonder when I hear stuff like this. Like, did those conspiracy theories come first, or did maybe the people making predictions about these kind of things come first? Because I don't know, maybe it's just Yeah, I guess so. I guess he's one of them. It definitely stokes the flame. You don't know if the snake's just eating itself at that point.
It's an Ouroboros.
What comes first?
It's an Ouroboros. It really is.
Exactly.
It's literally it's a snake eating itself. It's just
self-fulfilling.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and there's people making predictions while it's turbulent times. So it's easy to say crazy things and for people to kind of accept them and to eat them up, because in turbulent times people are looking for things to believe in, and they're looking for anything. And
right, but when you look back, the mid 90s were kind of nice. Like everything seemed nice.
That's what I was going to say. Like out of all the times, like times are constantly turbulent. That's what they are. Like the things at least for America, it was a prosperous time economically. Yeah, there was some weird shit going on politically, but when is there not?
Yeah.
Let's just say maybe he's not that great at being a psychic, and he's making some really shitty martial law predictions, and the country is going to be totally gone, and there's Hessian gangs running around the cities doing whatever.
Writing another movie, or he should be using this to write music videos.
I was about to say that. He really missed his calling. This dude shouldn't be. He's not a psychic. He's a writer. This is just like a book.
He's got books. He's got books too. And look, hey, I'm just going to throw this in there since we talked about that newsletter so much. Get on this. It's a long soundboard clip.
Please feel free to call 310-217-7579. That's 310-217-7579. And they can get details about the newsletter and about the how to order the book.
So yeah, he just doxes himself on national radio. So
Did you try to call that number, Russ?
Nope, I'm leaving that for the listeners. But
I'm surprised.
So Sean Morton, he went on to appear many, many times on the radio with Art Bell throughout the 90s. And during this time, from 1996 until 2010, Morton ran something called Delphi Associates Newsletter, Dan, which you just heard the commercial for. It was a print and online publication in which he made economic, financial, and political predictions. And in 2001, Morton predicted that the Dow Jones Industrial Average would rise to somewhere around 12,000 in December. The index actually ended at 8,341. So not the best track record for economic forecasting.
Oh boy.
But for all I know, that could be a cherry pick stat that is just making him look bad as far as that goes. But
I mean, what he said, he made tens of thousands of dollars in the stock market. Why not more? Why not become absolutely filthy rich then? Oh, right. That's for later.
The Dalai Lama, maybe. But he also still appeared regularly on Coast to Coast AM in the George Norrie era of the 2000s. And in 2007, he founded something called the Delphi Investment Group.
How did people ever call him out for all of this bullshit that he's been saying, Russ? Like all of these predictions?
I will say that early before, about the point that we are right now, there was a website called UFO Watchdog, and they did a great job debunking a lot of his claims. There is a article called The Shameless Psychic and His Prophecies of Lies, and he actually sued this website, and he also took his own websites and biographies down to be able to edit them after these hit pieces came out. But ultimately, his suit failed because they could not prove that anything that suit said was right. But actually, it gets worse for him because I was going to jump to one of his George Norrie appearances. You know, it'd been fun, a little hear him during Art Bell, hear him George Norrie, but because there's a good amount of George Norrie content with him. But this guy has appeared on a lot of shows and podcasts. So instead of old hot mouth Norrie, I wanted to find something a little more interesting, which wasn't hard to find. So let's jump ahead now to the year 2011. And this is 17 years after that Art Bell interview. Here, he is now known as America's prophet to a lot of people. He's the modern day Edgar Cayce.
How?
And we're going to find
right. How do people still call him that?
Well, because I guess the final hammer hasn't dropped, but we're going to find Sean David Morton on a program titled The Taz and Paula Show. And this is a podcast featuring Paula Noons and Taz Powers. And this podcast sounds exactly like this.
Well, good morning. We are so happy to be here this morning. Get ready to rock and roll with our next guest, Sean David Morton. He'll be talking about about the upcoming events, like the comet coming so close to the Earth and what that can do to us. You are listening to the International Taz and Paula Show, and I'm Paula.
And I'm Taz. In the past, Sean David Morton has shared stunning, accurate predictions of future events in his books, lectures, and live on air, as well with the kings of radio on Coast to Coast, Art Bell and George Norrie. He literally lives on the edge. Indeed, this seems to be the way of life with a gifted psychic coupled with his remote viewing capabilities as well. Sean also emphasizes that the things he sees in the future do not necessarily have to happen. They simply seem to be a warning for mankind to grow to a higher spirituality. If this happens, he believes many prophecies can be averted, and perhaps one's karma can also even be transmuted ahead of time. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
This is my favorite Saturday Night Live sketch out of all of them. These are seriously my favorite.
I know. I don't even mind that they're breaking so much. Like, I was having a hard time not laughing because it sounded like she was having a hard time not laughing.
She is. Taz comes in hot. She is my new favorite podcaster. And I want to tell you who I thought Taz reminded me of. I still have balloons. This is Pops.
We got it covered, Pops. Oh, I see.
So she just reminded me so much of Pops from regular show. Almost that laugh talk that she did throughout the entire thing. She just couldn't stop cracking
Never
up.
watched that show, so I don't get your reference, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
I do know the reference, but I was also thinking of who was it? Like, well, hello, everybody. Like, I don't remember who that was, but just had that.
Wow, that's the lady who called into Ivan Teller. Hello, everyone. Wow, that's a great one. I think Rob can find it. But I've got some new ones because next time we have a guest on the show, I've got the most killer intro. Listen to this.
Get ready to rock and roll with our next guest.
Yes.
Get ready to rock.
He literally
and roll.
lives on the edge. Indeed, this seems to be the way of life with a gifted psychic coupled with his remote viewing capabilities as well.
Oh, that's a long one, Taz. That might be a little too long. Sorry, Taz.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. This might be the clip.
Hello, everyone. Wow.
I'm Taz.
I think that was the one
that's like a mix between the both of them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I love
Wonderful.
Taz. I love Taz so much. I have to play more of this opening. Let's hear.
Sean also emphasizes that the things he sees in the future do not necessarily have to happen. They simply seem to be a warning for mankind to grow to a higher spirituality. If this happens, he believes many prophecies can be averted, and perhaps one's karma can also even be transmuted ahead of time. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Indeed. Taz sounds so jazzed for this. I think I found my soulmate of excitement as far as these things goes. Like, we can't wait. It's like, ooh.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, she's bubbling a little bit too much. Like, down, girl. What if something actually exciting happens? She's gonna fucking blow.
I love them.
Well, luckily Sean David Morton's on though. Yeah, I love her too. But so the setting is now established. This is the International Taz and Paula show, and Sean David Morton, he's gonna make his entrance. So let's jump in at the tail end of his very long credits.
Sean is an independent feature film writer, director, and author. Whoa, you've done a lot in your life, Sean. Welcome to our show.
Hey, Taz. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Great.
Good morning.
How are you?
What a joy. What a delight. Paula, blessings to you. Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
You're the same as normal. You
Oh, yeah.
you are. You haven't
we're
changed a bit.
abnormal. Of course, that's the brain they stuck in, the abnormal brain. I don't know how that works.
Oh, my God.
This is really unbelievable. This whole show is just soundboard gold. And look,
it is.
I didn't realize he thought of her as a Looney Tunes character, but it is accurate. So,
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
Wow, dude. Wow. This is amazing.
And here we go. We got Rob's going to play an old one, but I got a new one here.
Well, of course, that's the brain they stuck in, the abnormal brain. I don't know how that works.
You are abnormal.
Yeah, very abnormal.
Okay.
Well, of course, that's the brain they stuck in, the abnormal brain. I don't know how that
We have him talking to Art Bell again. Here we go.
Yeah.
Frankensteining it together.
And the circle is complete. This is insane.
It is.
In a good way, in a really good way.
I know. And I'm getting too distracted with their nonsense. We need predictions, which Sean is all but ready to deliver. But I can't get to that yet because Paula has to interject with this.
Sean is an independent feature. I have a cat named Abby Normal.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I have a cat. Her name is Abby Normal.
Abby Normal. Well, that's a good name for a cat because cats are all pretty strange. My house is constantly booby trapped. I have a stud male cat in my house, and it's either booby trapped, poopy trapped, or piddle trapped. I'm not sure which. It's just I'm always cleaning stuff up.
This
has
zero rails. I don't even know what is happening. Listen to this. Well,
of course, that's the brain they stuck in, the abnormal brain.
No.
I have a cat. Her name is Abby Normal.
Oh no, this show's just completely spinning out like on ice. Zero tracks. It's who knows where.
Oh my
Do they
God.
ever get on topic on this one?
He comes in with the hacky Taz thing and then follows it up with this line of
it's either booby trapped, poopy trapped, or piddle trapped. I'm not sure
trapped.
which.
I don't know. He's just saying stuff on the top of his head. Yeah, some
Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God, it makes me cringe. Oh man.
Yeah.
So his actual
are they still doing this show? Can we get them on? Can we go on their show?
I will try to get this. I'm going to try to get this a little bit on the rails. So it sounds like a lot of banter is going on, but his actual predictions or hypothesis that he talks about are things he claims to have been saying for the last 20 years. He's talking about how the sun is going to do something weird between 2012 and 2016, that the poles of the earth will shift, And I didn't clip this, but he had another fucking weird thing. He said this.
All these military scientists got together and they said, hokey smokes, by 2012. This is a report from 1947.
I just had to pull. He said hokey smokes.
Hokey smokes.
All these military scientists got together and they said, hokey smokes.
Hokey smokes. No, he's just making up stuff now. He's just making up phrases. Making up stuff now.
I think he has a fever.
He's been making up stuff this whole time. But now he's just making up turns of phrase that don't even exist.
He's trying to roll. He's trying to keep the Taz energy going. I don't know if he can match it, but maybe he is. But he also starts talking about how there is a comet that he's really concerned about, and he starts making some kind of turns. Like this comet, there's a comet coming close somewhere in our universe. It's making these strange turns that are going to affect volcanoes here on Earth, and he gets a little worked up about it and says this.
Now, people like myself that have been noticing this started warning people that the next 90-degree angle was going to be March 15th of this year. And there were all kinds of people on the net who were completely being just mocked and crucified by, of course, legitimate science that says, well, this comet couldn't possibly have any effect on the Earth and it can't do anything, particularly bad to us. And yet, and actually this is where it gets interesting, March 9th is when the earthquake in Japan really began, because the first earthquake in Japan was a 6.4. The next one, the next day on the 10th, was a 7.2, and then on March 11th was the 9.0 that everybody heard about, because they have earthquakes in Japan all the time.
Okay, I'm going to say, if it wasn't for the voices that he throws in, this show would be really hard to clip, because this guy never stops talking. And right now, what you heard was about 12 minutes into this, and poor Taz hasn't made a peep in a very long time to listen to this. And
turn into like a condescending Kermit the Frog for a second there.
Well, this comet couldn't possibly have any effect on the Earth, and it can't do anything, particularly bad to us.
I was going to say George Lucas, but I'll accept Kermit too.
That does sound like George Lucas.
So he's not only a famous fraud, but he's also a famous frog.
Whoa, Rob, that was fucking high five, dude. That was great.
I'm on fire. Dude, this guy is hilarious. He should just do comedy. His voices are great.
He's got a lot of voices. I've got
Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
So what he's actually trying to get into
here, man.
This Comet Talk, this is all in the lead up to 2012. And he is totally on the bandwagon of doomsday prophecies because he is America's prophet. He at the time had a website called Mayan Stargate, and he just goes on and on. So much so that I zoned out and was just waiting to see if Taz, I was just waiting to see if Taz or the other lady would say anything. And they finally do. At about 44 minutes into this interview / lecture.
Wow.
And someone had this brilliant interjection to make.
Rolling back and forth through time. But it's, who knows? I mean, do we just
go into another dimension?
Gravity stop working? I'm sorry?
We just go into another dimension.
It seems that way. I mean, it's just, again, it is, let's hope that's what occurs. And at the same time...
Yeah, at the same time, shut up. I'm telling you, 44 minutes in, that was the next time one of the hosts actually chimed in. He talks nonstop.
And she says something about another dimension.
And he's like, another dimension, whatever. Go on, moves on. And I got to say, that's about all I can stand of Sean David Morton on the International Taz and Paula show in the ramp up to 2012. So I tried to find a Coast to Coast episodes from around this time, but it looks like his last appearance with George Norrie was in 2008. And there is a reason for that. Because in 2010, Sean David Morton, and his wife were charged with civil securities fraud. The director of the New York Regional Office of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, stated that, quote, Morton's self-proclaimed psychic powers were nothing more than a scam to attract investors and steal their money.
Oh,
Turns out the Delphi Investment Group was not on the up and up, according to the SEC. And what I liked about finding this is that this story became big news in the financial world, and it produced a lot of great headlines in all the New York Times and Wall Street journals. You had headlines like, for psychic, suit came as a surprise. And another one, the shameless psychic and his prophecy of lies. And this is one I like a lot. If you ever met Sean, you were 0 degrees away from a man charged by the SEC.
Wow.
Another finally one we had, didn't see this one coming, investment psychic charged with fraud. So people are kind of running with this story. So let's hear how this went down. On March 7th, 2010, Morton and his wife Melissa were charged with civil securities fraud. He is alleged to have defrauded around 100 customers of $6 million between 2006 and 2007. According to the SEC, only a fraction of the money received by Morton went into foreign exchange trading accounts, with the rest diverted to shell companies run by Morton and his wife. In 2009, Morton attempted to file suit against the SEC for harassment, but the suit was dismissed. And in 2013, Morton was ordered by a judge to pay $11.5 million to the SEC within 14 days.
Damn.
So this lingered for a few years, went through the whole legal system. And then in January 31st, 2016, after being charged with 51 counts of issuing false instruments, 4 counts of filing false federal income tax documents, and 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the IRS, Morton and his wife, Melissa, were arrested. And that is, so yes, let me catch up with you guys. So that whole Delphi investment group turned out to be a total fucking sham, that he was going to use his psychic abilities like he talked about on Coast to Coast to predict the stock market. He reeled a bunch of people in and then stole a shitload of money.
Yikes. That's pretty hefty.
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that it took this long, honestly, for him to get caught up in some legal issues.
I'm surprised that as a psychic, he got caught, doing it.
It's very interesting. I can't think of a lot of situations where psychics basically get charged with being a fake psychic, more or less.
Yeah. I guess it was tangentially, I suppose. Because part of it was the fraud, the defrauding of other people, but then part of it was definitely defrauding the IRS, which was pretty separate from, false predictions.
It all kind of comes back to, his whole scheme, which is, getting people to believe these lies that he's telling and these stories that he's coming up with. So
his whole backstory, everything, being able to, that he funded his own kind of rebirth through using his psychic abilities to get financial gain. He's already kind of set that history up, being on Art Bell, and then he starts his newsletter, and then later an investment thing was like, hey, I know where things are going. Invest with me. Don't worry. I'm totally not going to put him in shell companies and steal all your money in his weird psychic pyramid that's going on here. So he went to jail. He had to pay a lot of money from all that. He lost everything basically. And then Sean David Morton, he was released from prison in 2021. And the best I can find is that his wife, Melissa Morton, she completed her term at the Federal Correctional Institute at Victorville, California. So he did get out fairly recently. And what is weird to think about him on Taz and Paula, he had already kind of been indicted. Knew he was going to jail at that point, being on that show where he's saying,
Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
At that point, he was busted already. It's just in the long legal process of being found out. So he did get out, and there are a few podcast appearances made by him since, but they're mostly on Rumble and alternative platforms, very coast to coast. No big outlets are touching this guy anymore. But I've got I guess, kind of a bit of sad news that I'm trying to figure out. So I'm going to throw to Drea here about what has gone on very recently, just in the last few months. What is going on with this guy, Drea?
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing. What was this, 2 months ago even? And they said that, saw today on Facebook, Sean David Morton passed away today. Not really sure the circumstances of it, but I thought everyone should know since he was such a big part of Coast to Coast back then. And okay, some of the comments were pretty crude, really not the nicest, RIP, but you were a total charlatan. And none of those miracle cures he used to sell on his website worked. The ones that they don't want you to know about. People just kind of being a little bit, cold about it, I guess. But then, you kind of get down to it a little bit. And someone saying, Sean is dead, but not actually dead yet, with a link to their website, projectcamelotportal.com. And it basically says that he is still alive. And like, I was like, well, I don't know what happened. Is he just like, he was apparently on life support, but I think they were deciding whether or not to take him off of life support. And this is over some form of cancer, right? But here's the update as of October 11th this year. Update regarding Sean David Morton. Sean was transferred to the ICU at a long-term care facility. I really hope it is a good facility and they give him the attention and care he needs. He is stable, but needs to get physical strength back into his body. I'm praying he's only there for a short time and can come home. Once he can walk, I can take care of him with a visiting home care nurse. I'm also hoping I can give him the alternative cancer meds he started just before all of this happened. Signed, Melissa Morton. With a picture of him, looking not so well, but with the caption in all caps, he's trying to make a funny face. So I don't know, like, what to make of that. Is he trying to make a funny face? Is he suffering?
So I'm looking at this picture. I'm looking at this picture here. Now, this is a very strange turn of this. So he was reported as dead, but evidently not brain dead. And on Sunday, October 1st, his wife posts 2023, Sean's rebirth day. Melissa wants to give Sean a few more days to resurface. He is making great progress. He will reschedule the Zoom meeting for later this week. So somehow this guy has been reborn on October 1st of this year, just a month and a half or so ago. Claimed dead in August, I think, or early September, but now is somehow alive. And I'm not even going to post his quote unquote funny face. It is not funny. It looks like Weekend at Bernie's. It is not looking good. He doesn't look great. I don't wish that much ill for him. He didn't rip me off personally, but as someone who was interested in this story, just because we got to find out these famous frauds, these psychics ripping people off and doing all this. I didn't know it would end in this kind of state of where it is now, where he is somehow clinging to life. He has been reborn. It's very strange.
Bizarre.
Well, he's even, before that, October 1st, he was, it says all of his signs are normal and that he squeezed our fingers and nods in response to comments. Like, that's definitely not brain dead, but it sounds questionable, right? But I did check, his Wikipedia, and normally when somebody passes away, that's one of the first things to get updated, and it'll say so-and-so was this or was that. They all still say there's no death date on there. So as far as I'm concerned, he's still alive.
He's still kicking. He's still hanging on.
Squeezing fingers. Yeah.
Could you imagine being claimed dead online and even on Reddit threads going, R.I.P. Sean David Morton? It turns out I'm not quite dead yet. I'm still hanging on.
He's literally that meme where he's like, I ain't dead yet, But no, this is that's not what this show is not about making fun of sick people at all.
Yeah.
This man somehow though has managed to make it through this crazy. He died and he's still alive. Which, how often do you hear about that?
He was brain dead, but you got to remember.
Well, of course, that's the brain they stuck in, the abnormal brain. I don't know how that works.
Oh shit! There's that. There's that.
He would appreciate that. All right, so I got we're coming to kind of the close of this, and there will be more. There is a lot more. He's done a lot of recent appearances. He's done a lot of the crazy shit that we couldn't even get into tonight. I'd like to get into the article debunking him from UFO Watchdogs. I want to do some of that on live streams, but I got to ask, what's this week's poll going to be? Should Sean David Morton be in the SOS Hall of Fame? I think he definitely maybe could deserve a spot there.
I think like right now is not the best time for that kind of a thing. Like, this man's on his deathbed, mayhaps, we don't know. Yeah. It's kind of a tricky time to throw him into this.
That's fucked up. Wait, hold on. I want to say this before we get too far.
I don't like talking negatively about people on the radio. It's just not my thing.
That's true. Yes, me as well. I mean, it could be just like, okay, what do we think of Sean David Morton? Because I don't know. I like the style of polls where it leaves it a little bit open ended. It could be like, A, he's an all right guy, just misguided. B, he totally knows what he's doing and he's a sack of shit.
He stole $6 million from people.
Wrong a lot. Yeah. But I mean, the people are allowed to have their opinions, and we need to allow those to be aired.
I think he's just a run of the mill
Bad psychic.
Sack of shit, though. I don't know if he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Yes, he got caught.
The SEC had to indict him. He was ripping people off. He was asking people to invest money into him as a psychic, and he was just stealing all the money. Like, he is the worst of. If you have any kind of belief in psychic ability at all, this guy totally shits on any of that. Like, he makes everyone look bad through this, and he got busted.
I mean, you've got to. Well,
so.
you've got to be stupid though when it comes to that kind of a thing with the financial shit. That's different than saying like, hey, I've got a thing that's going to cure your dying husband or your dying wife or your dying children. And when you give people false hope for something like that and play on their emotions, it's a little bit different than duping people and just in general fraud. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Leave it to the listeners, man. Should he be in the SOS Hall of Fame or not? You've heard both sides. He's got a sad story too. I think we go with it. What about you, Rob?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much of an opinion on this guy, to be quite honest. I think, he made some really stupid predictions and then got himself into some really, sounds like terrible legal issues. And then it sounds like, karma is dealing with him and this, the events that he caused in his life.
Fine.
And I
feel like anybody into the sack of shit Hall of Fame.
I feel like at a certain point with the sack of shit Hall of Fame, there needs to be something special because a lot of people, we can't put everybody who just did jail time, who's associated with paranormal activity in the sack of shit Hall of Fame. Yes, he did swindle money out of people. That does put him into that same category. But I don't know, man. I just feel like it doesn't feel
But he swindled more than P.P. Warren's ever seen or any of the other ones.
But that was completely outside of the whole, it's in the financial sector. It has to do with stocks and everything. Like, people do that shit all the time. Let's talk about throwing all kinds of hedge funders into the SOS Hall of Fame,
Well, he used our bell. He used our bell as a platform to rip people off.
He can go in the Hall of Fame. He can go.
He doesn't have to. It's fine.
Whatever you want. Yes, he could be in the Sack of Shit Hall of Fame.
I thought we were having fun with this. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Just go answer this week's poll. It'll be up there. Go to unbelieverspodcast.com to vote, and let's get out of here.
It's a scam-a-thon, nigga. You know what I mean? We hustle too.
Are y'all with the lunch crew company?
Fact. Turn your 500 to 5,000? It's a scam. Flip your 200 to 2,000? It's a scam. Book a flight, half price? It's a scam. Hit the mall and go swipe? It's a scam. It's a scam in this bitch.
Yeah, that was BFB, the Pac-Man with "Is a Scam," which I thought Sean David Morton was. Fun stuff. A fun way to start year 6 of our show. Going after a guy on his deathbed. Great guy. Great job.
A guy who died, was rebirthed, and is possibly dying again.
Welcome back.
See how that pans out. Jeez.
Yeah.
Rob's just shaking his head. I love this. Is my favorite episode so far.
I like the silly ones. I'm going to be transparent for you right now. I'll be transparent on the episode. I like UFOs. I like silly stuff. I like ghosts. I like Zach Baggins saying dumb shit. This is a little bit too heady and heavy for me, to be quite honest.
I didn't realize it would be going in. I think the only thing that made it heavy was learning what's going on right now. But before that, it was just...
all I have to say is... Blah, 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 blah.
He was silly. He was a complete silly boy.
He was.
Who did rip a lot of people off.
He was.
But yes, it is. What is. And that's what is. And this has been a lot of fun doing this with you guys for 5 years. I'm very excited to do more. But we got one more thing to do because I know we went long with this. But Drea, what is that?
Yeah, it'd be poll results.
This week's poll: what's the best TV ghost hunting team? And the choices were Portals in Hell, Jack Osborne, Ghost Brothers, the Kindred Spirits, or the Special Guests, which were like the Newkirks and everyone else being involved there. I'm going to ask you, because we didn't do a poll for the Halloween episode. This is from Haunted Salem Live quite a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, Drea Mora, what do you think the Unbelievers said?
Again, I hope they said Ghost Brothers because I found them the most entertaining. I like them the most.
All right. How about you, Rob?
Which group was Chip Coffey in?
He was in the special guest category, or Kindred Spirits. Maybe.
I'm going.
No,
with
he was
that
in
one.
special guest.
There was no Chip Coffey. That he should have had his own. Should have really had his own spot to select there. But no, whatever group. Whatever group Chip was in, I'm voting for.
All right. Well, congratulations, Drea. With 35% of the vote, Ghost Brothers are the best TV ghost hunting team, according to Unbelievers. But of course, there are others. Who's the best TV ghost hunting team? It's Kesha and Big Frida being gay and then masturbating, of course. Caterpillars coming out of butts and baby powder masterpieces. Creeper Keepers letting people free, and my personal favorite. All right, it's all ears, footsteps. Now, foot for our steps. You have an attachment, bitch. Thank you. Sorry.
Wow.
That was a
Tycoon Titty Boy coming in.
That was a long one. Tycoon Titty Boy.
Tycoon Titty Boy with every clip from the big
Creeper Keeper. Let these people free.
Thank you, Tycoon Titty Boy. Who is the best TV ghost hunting team? He went full Chip McConnell, Rob Okey. From Host Quotes. Thank you, Host Quotes. Went full Chip McConnell. I'll take your word for it, Host Quotes. Who's the best TV ghost hunting team? A true story. Violet Monroe has recently taken an interest in ghost hunting. If she gets the show, I'll watch it whether she has a sidekick or not. I am the Violet fan. Signed, a corrupted mask. The Violet fan. All right.
Okay. All right. Do I give them the Violet Flame? Is that what they're
might as well.
It's triggering?
I am the Violet Baby, I am the Violet New Light of the I am the Violet Baby, mighty God, I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the Violet Flame, blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone.
Is it possible to miss something and also not miss something at the same time? Because that's how I feel about that clip.
We need to come up with a word for that. I am right there with you, Rob.
Thank
we
you.
should find a way to speed that clip up.
Thank you, Corrupted Mask. Oh, what is the best TV ghost hunting team? I don't know about ghost hunting, but I'd take Amy Bruni any day to hunt for a lost cat. She's got a mean chip, 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 chip. All right, that's pretty good. Yeah, we do have that as a clip.
Come on, Chip. Hey. Chip, 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 chip. Chip.
He's right.
Amazing. I never thought of it that way.
You're in the lead, Wombat Preservationist.
Wombat Preservationist.
What is the best TV ghost hunting team? You trying to tell me there's a better team than Zach Baggins and his gas mask? Yes, his gas mask now counts as his team because he's alienated himself from all other living beings. Plus, the mask helps if Theodore toots. Theodore don't. Signed, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Oh, that was a killer, Zach.
That was great.
So just Zach and his mask is a team?
Hello.
Theodore don't.
That one, honestly, it has to be one of my all-time favorite
It's
clips
one of the best.
that we've done.
It's one of the best. Literally. Still holds up.
Thank you, Josh. What is the best TV ghost hunting team? Give me a ghost hunting team with Russ, who's holding a phone, with Drea on FaceTime throughout the night, and of course, Rob, who just sits very still and can only communicate with soundboard clips. Signed Gusto. Okay, this is a very specific team. So I'm FaceTiming Drea and Rob is playing soundboard clips. What kind of clips would you play if this was going on?
I guess.
Taz, all I have to say is blah, 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 blah.
I was gonna say I play clips like
Russell Ryan. I said his name backwards.
Like, who said that?
Hey, that would be a pretty fun fucking ghost hunting team. We should do
All
that.
right, let's book it. Thank you, Gusto. I love that. What is the best TV ghost hunting team? Let me take that again. What is the best TV ghost hunting team? Not Zach Baggins. That Creeper Keeper is a bit of a misogynist. Signed, Whooping Hooper. Oh, that was a recent clip. A bit of a misogynist. I know what he's referencing there.
How do you spell misogynist?
M-Y-S? No,
How did you spell it, Russ?
I'm not going how Whooping Hooper spelled it because it's very wrong.
In your audio
I think
clip,
M-Y-S is probably how I
It's
spelled it.
M-I-S-O-G-Y-N-I.
He's a bit of a misogynist.
He's a bit of a misogynist.
I forget that. Chip, saying that. Thank you, Whooping Hooper. What's the best TV ghost hunting team? The Real Ghostbusters. They actually caught ghosts and demons and shit. Who are you going to call? Not Zach. Teabag Baggins. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony. Coming in strong there. What is
Love it.
What is the best TV ghost hunting team? Finally, They would all be better if a bowl was involved, but then they might be on Pornhub. Why would I lie about that? Signed Breakdance the Curse.
Ooh.
That was our final entry for tonight.
Okay, I'll give them the hug.
They've actually come before, right? That sounds familiar.
Went to this room. There was this bowl on this table, and I was supposed to ejaculate into the bowl.
Thank you so much. Break Dance the Curse. Great entry there. So many good ones for tonight. What do you guys think? Who did you guys like? Anything stand out? I will say I liked host quotes with he went full Chip McConnell, Rob Okey. That was a very good one. We had a lot of good ones. I like Wombat Preservationist. I don't know about ghost hunting, but I'd take Amy Bruni any day to hunt for a lost cat. She got a mean chip. That
was really good.
Right?
That was actually really cute. That was actually a cute poll result. Like in my opinion, I find that really endearing.
It was wholesome.
Yeah,
yeah. We rarely have wholesome ones.
Very rarely.
I think
the real ghost
for that reason,
Tony was great, but
for that
I do love
they
Amy.
should win.
Do we halt it here? Do we just call it right now?
I feel like maybe we should. Yeah.
All right, we will. And congratulations with. I don't know about ghost hunting, but I'd take Amy Bruni any day to hunt for a lost cat. She got a mean chip. Wombat Preservationist. You just won this week's poll results. Wow. We have come to the end of the program. But before we go, Drea Mora, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing the annual Secret Schneider thing again. If I don't know when we're going to have the cutoff date for it yet, but if you're hearing this right now, hopefully as it's first coming out, you can sign up for that by emailing unbelievablesanta@gmail.com, just saying that you want to opt in.
Explain what that is real quick. Explain what that is real quick for some new listeners,
I will,
if anybody's new and they haven't been part of this before.
Yeah. I was going to say that, I'll put up a link also to the website where it's for a gift exchange. And I think in order to keep things simple, we are going to keep it just, continental US and everything, because the shipping costs have gone absurd. But yeah, like you do for a name pulling thing, it's a gift exchange. You sign up and we draw the names and the numbers. You get matched with somebody and you get to send somebody a really awesome little paranormal related gift or a cryptid thing. And then you can get something really cool in return. And just know that, if your friends and family aren't into this kind of thing, you can get something cool that you're going to like.
Yeah, it's our gift exchange. And the gift exchange actually is older than the show. We keep talking about the age of this. I think we've been doing the gift exchange for about 6 or 7 years now. So go to unbelievablesanta@gmail.com. Tell us you want to be part of the gifts exchange and you will be in there. We're going to throw you in there. And I have a plug for this evening. I'm going to plug my boy Issa YZ. If anyone out there needs any kind of editing work, or if you're working on a podcast, you need help doing anything, reach out to me or reach out to my boy Issa YZ on Instagram. That's my plug for tonight. How about you, Rob? What do you have to say or plug?
Check out the stuff I'm working on over at LPN. Check out Side Stories. I was on Side Stories this week. So you may have heard my voice on that one. Support that show. Support our Patreon, Patreon/Unbelievers podcast. Yeah, just, check out all the old episodes. Go back and listen to our first episode. This way you can hear.
Stop saying that. I want to.
Me and Russ are both just like, no, don't.
Why?
Not
what are you doing this to us?
10th episode or something. Oh, it's just, throw us in the fire. Do it.
Fine. That's it. The Unbelievers podcast host today were Drea Mora and me, Rus Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Okey. Our editor is Issa YZ. You can join our Patreon by going to patreon.com/Unbelievers podcast for monthly bonus episodes and more. You can follow the show on Twitter, Unbelievers Pod, and Instagram at Unbelievers Podcast. And check out our merch store at TeePublic. There's a link in the description. Our music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever Aaron, aka Aaron Chilb. Go follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Chilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker who designed our logo is Raymond Rowell. Check his work out at Harley Warren Art on Twitter and harleywarren.com on the internet. Our official Guardian of the Vengers at Kraken Stack. Our official Alien Bopper is Nunchuck Bop. And from Patreon, our official Reptilian at the post office is Postal Patty. Our official extraterrestrial woman still waiting for hashtag rubbing heads to trends is Crescent Moon. Our official Reverend Doctor of the podcast is the non-Newtonian Druid. Our official Big Island Paranormal Friendly Weather Man is Green Finark. Our official procrastinator is Jeffrey Hartner. editor. Our official Baby Yoda publicist is Pam Z. Our official Unbeliever listening between the stations for a message from Art Bell, who is once again gifted, is Scott E. Our official Unbeliever raising puck wedgies is Joe Filler. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Unbeliever time traveler is Taylor Nelson. Our official ghost hunter is Amelia Childs, a ghost hunting in New England. Our official senior European correspondent is Kay Mill of the I Don't Know podcast. Our official paranormal art curator is Isis Haynes. Our official Rod is Rod Begged Me for Something. And our official Unbelievers in need of titles are Todd X, Lid Vicious, Sandra Deborah Foles, Ramiro Trash Baby, Adam Dvorak, Red Shore Josh. And this week's Unbeliever focus is Yo-Yo Chris 2020, who recently found a suspicious box on his doorstep. And all it said was, quote, a gift for a fellow unbeliever. And look, he asked me if I knew anything about it. I do not, but I made sure to tell him that
it's either booby trapped, poopy trapped, or piddle trapped. I'm not sure which.
So watch out for that. And good night.
Discontinue.